Mark, what's happening, man?
Dan. Hi, Dan. Good morning.
Hey, how are you, bud?
Not too bad. What about you?
I'm doing good. This is my first time back in like a couple weeks, so it might be a little
Yeah.
rusty, but we'll shake it off and knock the rust off and get things going here. Yeah.
Yeah. How does it feel? You missed two shows. I mean, obviously DJ did one show and then we took a break for the 4th of
Yeah.
July. But how does it feel to have taken a break for 2 weeks?
There was something missing in my life, and I just yearned to come back and have this experience. So this was missing, so it feels great.
It's great to have you back.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. So we got a fun show today. We're going to go over some announcements and different events coming up, and then show you kind of a special piece that we were featured in. We'll share the link for that as well, and then going to talk about 5 plus 1 bonus question around survey questions that you probably are using maybe sparingly or not using that you should be using in your research, at least in different points where it makes sense. And then we have some interesting data points that Tim Cornelius, our director of audience, put together this morning when I was sitting down thinking about some questions for data points. I had like writer's block, but for survey questions. So Tim is always the man for like interesting questions to ask in surveys. So I went to him and he hooked us up. So we'll cover that later in the show. So that's good. Mark, so what do we want to talk about today in terms of announcements and different things coming up?
2 things I just quickly want to go over. I want to go over the Insights Hub webinar that you did last week with Vivek and Christy. You want to just give our listeners a quick rundown about it, and I could put the URL.
Yeah, that's great. So take a look at the Insights Hub product release webinar that we did last week with Vivek and Christy. Christy's at Knowledge Hound. Vivek, obviously the CEO of QuestionPro. We released the new product Insights Hub and talked extensively about it, how it fits in the marketplace with the knowledge management. And it's really an extension, kind of a product that's built and added on to QuestionPro. So you can use, obviously, your survey research and any other research that you do, bring it into this repository. It's searchable, taggable. There's also some interesting things that we've thought of around getting in like knowledge graphs and ways to really enhance the data repository experience, I would say. So take a look at that webinar. It's filled with a good panel discussion, a good product demo.
Right.
So if you want any information and you're just curious about the space, there's information for that. If you want to know more about Insights Hub and our product and how we're approaching it, it's in there as well. So feel free to take a look at that, and that's good there. And then also wanted to talk about the certification, Mark. And so I think that was the next thing on your agenda. I may be getting things mixed up, but the certification I wanted to talk about just briefly. If you're want to get more experience and also get certified on QuestionPro, there is a link that you can click to view the certification and obviously take the course. We're offering it free through the end of July, so make sure you get it started before then. There's a professional, which is the first level, and the second level is an expert level. Goes over, the professional is more kind of an intro to QuestionPro with a few advanced research techniques, and then the expert really takes on all of the advanced research questions, additional logic, and so forth. So get certified. I think it's something good to put on the resume. Show your employer that you have taken the time to become certified in it, and then it's free. So right now, so take advantage of it, and the link is in the chat to do that. And then
I just put that in.
And then what else did we want to talk about, Mark?
The insert that we did with Nick of MRF.
I want to talk about that too. So I'll bring that up. I'll share my screen. I'll show that and just some of the different things and pieces in there real quick. I'll show you that. And then one other announcement is I'm going to be on a podcast recording next week. I think it'll release later that week. So be on the lookout for that. And we will obviously push that out on our socials with that information as well. So I'm excited about that. Going to be talking about communities with Brian over at EMI. So it's going to be a super interesting conversation. And I told them I'm open for anything. So I don't know what they're going to ask, but I'm ready for it. I like those kind of those kinds of questions as well. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about here in terms of the insert. So we teamed up with MR Web, and they were doing this communities insert kind of supplement, and it's a special issue. It just got released, so obviously Mark will put the link in the comments so you can take a look at it and view it, but filled with a bunch of interesting information around communities and everything going on in that space. Nick Thomas interviews me, others in the industry as well, about communities, different things that are going on. So certainly, really interesting. There's also some good case studies in here as well. Of course, I want to get to the part that features me. So here I did a video podcast with Nick. Here's a short summary of it. Really, it was fun. I had a good time doing it. It's about 40 minutes, so you can feel free to watch that or listen to it when you can. Some information about obviously the community space, different things in the industry, and then some other things. He asked me like, "What's my motto?" And I said, "Well, my motto kind of is depending on on what on what I hear different times in life." But Mark, I talked about some of the comfort challenges that we did a while.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So I
that was really nice.
So I told him about asking for 10% off, when you go to get coffee. It's not like it's not the money that you're saving, but it's putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations. So that, when there's a bigger uncomfortable situation, it won't be quite as maybe chaotic for you. So take a look at this mailer. It's filled, or the supplement rather, it's filled with a lot of interesting information from both, QuestionPro and then other great companies as well, and just information about the market at large. All right, cool. So next, I think let's jump to kind of the main topic for today. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments wherever you're viewing this. If it's on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, put them in the comments. We'll get to them. But I wanted to cover really 5 survey questions plus a bonus survey question. That these are questions that you might not know we have, or even if you're not using QuestionPro, and these are probably, some of them aren't in your other platform, but maybe there's ones that are like it. But these are questions that maybe you don't think of right away, but that will be helpful in your research to add some additional elements there. So Mark, the first one is just this, CAPTCHA question type. I think it often goes unmissed. When you add the question, it's down here, but it's actually a pretty powerful question type for a number of reasons. One, it's a good attention check. 2, it helps to avoid, bots and farms taking your survey. And it's just another good way to get, and I would say another way to ensure that you're getting good quality data collected in your survey as well. So that's a question type that I would recommend. It's easy. It doesn't add that much time to your survey either. So another one is a text highlighter question type. So if you have ad copy, or you're writing a blog, or whatever it might be, like maybe a product description, and you want to see how your users either like or dislike certain sections so you can change it, use the text highlighter question. I'll give a demo of it here coming up, but I think this is a question type that often gets overlooked, and it can be really powerful to help you out in your research, and also obviously improve product descriptions, copy, whatever that might be. So that's a question type that I'd recommend. Another is, it's called Livecast. This is a question type that we've developed essentially where you can collect video of your response, and then we layer on in the back end sentiment analysis, topical analysis, and then also we use facial recognition software to put emotion on your response. And I played around with this morning, did some example response. Nice. So you'll see, I tried to trick it, and it wouldn't let me trick it, Mark. It was like, no. And I'll show you that. I thought that was really interesting because
that is amazing.
Your thoughts about camping. Well, if anybody knows me, like I love to camp and RVing and getting out there. So I tried to, trick it, but you can't trick this AI in. Try. So. And then the next one is like a store locator. So if you're asking, hey, which coffee shop did you visit and where was it? You can use this to get the exact location, so there's no ambiguity in the response or whatever it might be. This next question type is super important, I think, for any medical research, or if you want to get verified signatures. I'll show this in real time as well, but essentially what it would allow you to do is to get those verified responses by you automatically send an email out, and then we have them enter in the 4-digit code, and then you get the verified response. It gets rolled up into a PDF as well, so that's another layer of security. But this is a good question type to use, I think, if you're doing any sort of research where you need that verification that it is authentic and to get their consent. And you can see the question here as well. But this is a good one to use in addition to the signature question type, or as an alternative, rather. And then
I'm sure this helps with the data quality, though, right? I mean, it must be bumping up your survey responses and the authenticity of it for sure.
Definitely, that is another benefit, Mark. You're right, 100%, because it not only is it ensuring people are paying attention and they're taking that extra step, it's a real person because they have to provide the name, the email address, and then enter in the code. So we've seen a lot of success with this question type as well. And then this one is a hotspot question type, or heat map rather. I'm sorry. Heat map question where you can click on areas of the image that are of interest to you. And Mark, you know where this is at, right?
Oh yes, yes I do. It's the hotel lobby at the JW Marriott in Pune, right?
Yeah, you got it. Man, you're a store locator in yourself, man. You just know exactly.
I'm surprised I remember after all of those beers, but I do. Hey.
Yeah. I know we were over here in the courtyard, right? So cool. So we'll go over that as well. So let me just take this link here, and then I'll put it in here, and we'll take the survey. We'll kind of go over the respondent experience as well. So here the caption: are you a robot? No, I'm not a robot. And the text highlighter question here. So let's say I'm reading this and I'm reading this and this is a really good sentence. So you'll see this box pop up. I can like it, and you can say, I don't know, really like the word choices. And then this gets saved, obviously, and you can view this response later as well. And then maybe you want to highlight this and you dislike it. You can say, I wish there was more to end the paragraph, whatever it might be, right? So then you can save that. And you can see, obviously, green is good, red is, they dislike that. So this is something that you can use, again, if you have any sort of copy or anything like that.
Is there a limitation on this question type, Dan? Like, can you select maybe only one like and one dislike, or is there any sort of limitation? You can do like multiple.
Yep.
Nice. Okay.
So you can do that, and then you can even change it. Let's say this and save it. So you can see that maybe you like parts of it, you dislike parts of it. You can see by the different shading of what was sort of mixed, and then that's what you can see also in the reported data as well. So number of things you can do. And this one is where you can record the short video. So I'll try to do this now. I'm not sure how it's going to work with this,
with the live
screen and so forth, but I hit this button here and I can talk about it. So, I really like camping. It's fun. It's exciting. I like to get outdoors, spend times with friends and family, and RVing is great too. So once I'm done, I just click that. It's uploaded the response. It's uploaded there. And then on the back end, I'll show you some of the analysis that you can get from this particular question type as well. So good way to capture more of that qualitative data as well. And then this is the location question type. So I want to say, name, Mark, where was the last place that you got coffee? Was it a Starbucks maybe, or a...
Yeah, Starbucks, yeah. But would this show you the Starbucks in India?
Yeah, let's see. We'll
in Aund, let's say, or can you search with the zip code, or...
So was it any one of these?
The fourth one.
The fourth one, okay. I know you like to hang out in KP too, so you probably were over there, yeah. And then if,
the last one, nice.
The next door, so I can say, maybe I'll put one in here. So it's global, obviously, but Starbucks in, Austin, let's say. I can search this, and then like, no, we were, this one off Bee Cave Road. So you can also select that. So you can ask any number of questions, maybe the last 3 that you were at, and then it will populate. And then obviously you get this data as well.
Nice.
And then here is the question type. So I'll enter in this, I'll verify email, and then I'm going to bring this up on my other screen here. So it'll send me this code. And then once I have this code, should be good to go here. So let's see. It's processing here. Well, let me see. Okay.
I love this. I think that it adds so much more credence and credibility to the research that's conducted. So you know that you're getting very, very legitimate responses.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. And it's coming through. Let's see if I can find it here in my email. All right, let's see. I have a code here. Let me find it. Okay, cool. Let's see. This one was a code. Let me see if this one is the right one. So it's not the right code. So it looks like it's still trying to make its way to me, but you can see that it would verify those responses, and then it also spits out a PDF as well. So it might be because of just taking a little bit longer here. But if it comes, I'll show you that. I'll check before the end of it, but it's in real time there. And then you can verify the code and then enter in the signature, and then you are good to go there. So it might be I've already used this email address, I think. So maybe
probably
it could be on the survey. So anyway, you get the idea of this question as well. And then I will just show you this question here, the hotspot question. So, you can click on the 2 areas of interest here, and then, done. So you can, and obviously that survey, has been taken as well. So, all right. And then, so these are some good question types to use in your survey data. It also is, good for analytics as well. So I wanted to show you some of the analytics here in terms of some of the analysis. And so I'll show you the live cast first. This is one that I ran earlier this morning. So I'm just going to show the existing report. But what's interesting here is that, you can click on these different videos. It tags it. So, good way, fun, kids, is positive. And you can see that it's maybe hard for you to read here, but it says like 85% joy. So there was a joyful emotion in this, which it was true. Now, I tried to say, like, I really don't like camping, and there's too many bugs or mosquitoes, and it's just not fun. I'd rather be somewhere else. But you can see that it says tentative. So it picked up that I was tentative on my response because it wasn't true. Like it picked up somehow in my facial, recognized some different emotion markers on my face that knew I was tentative in my response. So you can really get at is the person being authentic or not. And this is one way that you can do that as well. So kind of interesting.
It's incredibly cool.
Yeah. And then let me actually go back here. So I did have the code to that question that we talked about. So let me see if.
Oh, nice.
And maybe it won't work because I already clicked out of it, but we can give it a shot here and see. It must have just taken a little bit to get to me. So let's go through this and see if it will get here. Okay, probably won't actually because I got to re-verify this email, but we can try it. Okay, so that worked. And then
that worked.
Yeah, so I think I was looking in the wrong spot in my email, so no big deal, or just didn't see it right away. Okay, anyway, here, so you enter it in, and then you go to the next question. What's also good then is I get a PDF of that response as a respondent as well. So the researcher has it, and then the respondent has it as well. So both have a copy, which is good. All right. So then, so that's like some of the live cast analysis, which I think is super interesting that you can do. I'll just go back to that here. So it really does pick up like the negative or positive emotions, and then whether it was tentative or not as well. So kind of interesting there, super interesting to use this question type. If you want to use it, definitely reach out, let us know. Another one I'll show here is the text highlighter, and then we'll get into the data points coming up here as well. So you can see that these are the areas that were really liked by respondents, and the greater shade of green here is that more intensity. It means that more people selected that particular area. And then if I click on dislike, you can see people didn't like this. So maybe I want to really take a look and change obviously the areas that people dislike. So these are things that you can come in here and see and really update your the copy or the different text that you put in here. It's a good way to go about that. You can also view by data filter. So let's say you wanted to see like maybe if it was different generational preferences or gender or income, whatever it might be, you can use those, set up those and use them
filters
for data as well. So, and then of course you can export it as well. So Mark, those were 5 question types plus a bonus one with the CAPTCHA that I wanted to show you today. I would say if you have any questions, definitely reach out and ask us. Some of these we can enable in your account as well. So let us know. Really cool question types, fun to use, obviously. And then obviously just from a verification standpoint, the verified signature is something that is very powerful to use as well.
Right.
So
exactly. In fact, you're very right. I mean, you don't think of all of these questions at the top of your head, right, when you're thinking research. So it's pretty nice that we're actually going over a lot of these. So
yeah, no, it's great. It's great to do. And then even for like this CAPTCHA question, you can see in the analytics, the different ones that have passed as well. So. And then the hotspot, of course, you can see there's not a lot of data here, but you can see those 2 shades right there.
Right.
The area of intensity. So yeah, interesting question types to use for sure. All right, well, let's jump right into data points, and then we can go from there. So have some interesting data points. Again, Tim hooked us up today with some interesting questions. So this year will mark the 20 years since the terrorist attack on 9/11. Do you remember where you were when those attacks happened? So it looks like 87%. This is US again. So 87% said yes, they do remember. I vividly remember, where I was. I was in my bedroom at home, and my mom came in, I remember, and said, the planes hit the towers. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I turned on the news, and I couldn't leave the television all day. I was so intrigued and just wanted to know more about what happened.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely remember exactly where I was. And then, so no surprise there. I think a lot of people in the US remember where you were. Obviously, if you weren't born, I mean, tough to remember, but that's beside the point, Do you believe airport security, specifically TSA's screening process, should be as strict as it is? Taking off your shoes, removing computers from your carry-on, etc. 84% said yes. So I think even though it's a friction point and it's like kind of a pain in the ass, it's like a key thing where people do see it as like probably a necessary thing to do. And I would agree, like it's, you kind of got to get undressed and then put back on your clothes, and then you're good to go. But it is a friction point, but I think it's necessary for sure. So,
but there's also the advanced TSA or something that you can do the screener up front, right?
You can, yeah. And then there's easier ones now. I think it's called the Clear, where you can just walk in. I think they do like a facial scan or something, or a card or something like that, and then you can do that. So, and then do you agree or disagree with the U.S. military ending the mission in Afghanistan on the end of August, essentially? So most people agree. I think what's interesting here is you're seeing that that the Taliban kind of getting additional. Making gains in their space and going into Iran and so forth, but pulling out. So there is some controversy here, but we don't need to get into a political discussion today. But most people agree. I think that it's time, so to get out of there. Interesting one, kind of shifting gears from the more of a military political landscape to, do you agree or disagree Apple should allow you to repair your own device. So I think Steve Wozniak came out in support of repairing the device, of being able to do it. So I, agree. I can see why Apple doesn't want you to, but also I think that, agree that you should be able to do it as well. So it's kind of interesting debate right now, I would say.
I'm very conflicted on this one. I don't know how that would even work, but I think I'm in the camp that says maybe no.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously in the minority.
Yeah, no, it is true. Like you take the back cover off your laptop, and unless you know what you're looking at, like it's, good luck. So
Exactly.
yeah, or even your phone. Like the most I've done is change the battery, but in the phone. Okay. In a world where everyone is now allowed to choose their own tax contribution, what percentage of your paycheck would you give to the government? So people are like 30% average, somewhere in that range. So I don't think I'm that high. I want to be a little bit lower. So, but it's interesting nonetheless. And then which of these payment methods sounds better to you? Let's see. Which of these payment methods sounds better to you? Oh, $36 per hour or 1 cent per second.
Ooh,
interesting, huh?
Tim comes up with the most amazing questions.
I think he lies in bed at night thinking like, what interesting question should I ask? And then, yeah, he probably dreams about it or something. I don't know. No, so this is kind of interesting. I think the $36 immediately stands out, right? But then something like the 1 cent per second is interesting too. So 1 cent per second actually could sound like a lot too, because obviously there's a lot of seconds if you start thinking about that. So I would agree, like the 36 probably sounds a little better, but I kind of like the 1 cent per second,
Yeah, I think the 36 is a lot easier. Maybe that's why people would gravitate towards it, me included. I would think that's easier there's no math involved.
And this is an interesting one, Mark, cryptocurrency. It's like the buzzword right now with NFTs as well. So should cryptocurrency be regulated to protect investors' losses? People say yes and no, but isn't the whole point of cryptocurrency to be deregulated? So I don't know.
Exactly. So. You can't have it both ways, right? When you're doing well, you can't say that, oh, this is my money and I'm smart. But when you're making losses, you can't say that, oh, I want someone to step in and help me cover my bases. But
right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So interesting questions there. Thank you, Tim, for coming up with those. All right. Mark, I think that's what I wanted to go over today. Anything else that we should talk about, or anything I might have missed?
No, I think we've covered it all for today, Dan.
Okay.
Pretty interesting show.
Awesome. Oh, Tim says he has a lot of help now from the internet. All right. All right. Fair enough, Tim. Fair enough. Cool. All right. With that, Mark, I think we can end the show. Till next time, next week, we'll have some fun things planned next week as well. So look out for those announcements at the beginning of the week. So, all right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. And thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
See you guys. Bye.